Welcome to Running is Bullshit. I'm Stuart.
And I'm Amy, and you're listening to the podcast that loves to hate running. Now into its 8th year.
Ugh.
That is crazy. 8 years! 8th year. That's mad. On this episode, we're catching up from a busy few weeks of fucking hell, let me do it again. On this episode, we're catching up...
Still absolute professional. 8 years, still can't read a fucking paragraph.
No. On this episode, we're catching up from a busy few weeks off recording, talk about some plans with various levels of common sense for the year ahead, and don't worry, people are still shitting themselves and we're still talking about it. Start as you mean to go on for 2025. Shit yourself on January 1st. I hope everyone did.
I hope so, and I hope they all let us know about it. I hope their first thought is, oh, you know what, it's a good story.
Yeah.
Bad experience, good anecdote is the way it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Amy, how come everyone does shakeout runs now? I feel like 2 years ago, you would never see the word shakeout on Strava, and now I feel like it's basically every Friday and Saturday. You see shakeout runs, which is just a normal run the day before a race.
Yeah.
Which I have no idea if it does anything at all. But no one does recovery runs anymore. I never see recovery runs on Sundays and Mondays anymore.
Wow.
Have they gone out of fashion?
I think recovery runs have gone out of fashion. So I never used to call it a shakeout run, but I understand like going for like a short run before your race, especially if you've been tapering, because I guess everyone's different. If you've been walking a lot while you've been tapering, I guess it doesn't really matter. But when I taper, I tend to sit on my arse a lot and not really do much. So I think it's good to like stretch your legs a bit. But recovery, I mean, I haven't been on my training with my training with my coach. I haven't been doing recovery runs for that plan. The recovery is resting. The recovery is just sitting, chilling.
Yeah, I know Gemma's
resting.
very much into rest.
And I don't know. I don't know what the science is behind it all. Whether, I mean, to me, it makes sense that you would rest your body after it's gone through something, sort of traumatic. So yeah, that makes sense to me. But also, I sort of get the keep it moving a bit because there's like active recovery. I guess it depends what you've done. If you've done something really, really big and pushed yourself, I think rest is probably key. But if you've just pushed yourself a little bit, I also think active recovery is good. But yeah, I think recovery runs are going out of fashion.
People definitely used to do a lot of recovery run, and they'd run like almost the same distance at almost the same pace. Like an absurd, like 90% effort recovery run. Like just because you say it's a recovery run doesn't mean you're recovering any better.
No.
But like, it's just the word shakeout. It's just everywhere now. Everyone loves talking about their shakeout runs. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like in the last couple of years, that's just come from nowhere.
Yeah.
Let's have a catch up with the last episode. Jason Newell says the Loch Ness Marathon. They lay on about 80 coaches to ship you from Inverness to the start, and I suspect a good part of the increase in the cost of the event is higher costs, not just the London Marathon event's influence. Yes, that's probably a good point. There's lots of things have gone up in price everywhere, to be fair. He said it's an awesome event without a flat bit until mile 23. Also don't understand why anyone has to have a toilet stop in marathons. Even when I did one injured, taking nearly 7 hours, I never had to stop in any of the 6 I've done. Sweat more.
It's not pee, Jason, that people need.
Jason, I think you need to drink more. That is a clear case of Jason telling everyone, just be dehydrated.
Yeah, but also it's not always for a wee. I mean, those toilets are crucial, usually not for a wee.
Some bad things have happened in them.
Yeah. On to our tea update.
Ooh.
We've partnered with Bird and Blend Tea, which means we'll tell you about what tea we've been drinking. And if you like the sound of that, you can go to runningisbs.com/tea, click on the links and buy some tea if you want. Stuart, what are you drinking today?
I've just polished off my salted caramel chai. Ooh. Lovely loose leaf tea. Always bang on about chais. Always still like them. It's winter. I was going to say it's winter, so it's good, but we have them all year, so that's nonsense. It doesn't matter. Any time of year, a chai tea is good. How about you?
I'm afraid I'm not drinking a Bird and Blend this morning.
Well,
I know. So just quickly, I got some lovely tea from Lanzarote. It's an oolong with strawberry, and it's really nice. It is like a Bird and Blend, like it's like got proper bits of strawberry and other stuff in there. Mm-hmm. So I do have to look on the Bird and Blend website to see if they've got something similar, or maybe email them and say, just copy this recipe that I've just pirate this recipe. Yeah, because it is really, really nice. It does taste very similar to a Bird and Blend. But
send them a couple of spoonfuls in the post. See what they do.
have like a SWAT team descend on my house and like sending some like weird concoction in the post to them. Yeah.
I remember many years ago in a job, I was discussing with someone about they had like their own family chai mix, which I was very excited about, and I wanted some of that. And so she ended up bringing me this little bag of brown powder. I was like, does this look strange? Just a little plastic bag of brown powder.
Yeah, is that like
it's
a
not
code
a great
word?
look.
Family
Yeah.
chai mix. You got any of
The
that family chai
chai.
mix?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
It was odd that she smoked it, but it was,
When she brought the spoon out and like the foil, it was like, oh god.
yeah, it's an old family recipe.
Anyway, what have you been up to for the past however long we've been away?
It's been quite a long time, hasn't it? There's a
Yeah.
fair bit happened. I know you've got a shitload to go through, so I'll go first this time. Soon after we recorded, I did the Skirrid Fell Race in South Wales. Really enjoyed that. Another kind of classic, short, sharp, nasty fell run. I've got on the notes here, I took the wrong path, but I mean that in a different way, which I wanted to go off path, but I ended up taking the actual path, which I didn't want to take. Because this is how fell races work. I went past the trig, and there is a way you can get back by just going straight off the face of the mountain and just down through the bushes, which is the way I wanted to go. But a load of people ahead of me just turned left, and I thought, I'll just follow them, and ended up on the path, which was a bit slower, which was very frustrating. But it's one of these, stupid downhill races. You can barely run down the hill. I kind of I did slide a bit because it's just fun. And then the rest of it was just across about 3 or 4 fields, and it was just ice skating. It was so muddy, so slippery. You could see people were just, the lines people were taking were getting wider and wider off the kind of main path, just into the field, just to try and find any grip at all. And I don't think there was any. So I probably added on a few hundred meters, just trying to go round to find some grip. But yeah, it's just ice skating for a good 2 miles back to the finish line. Good fun. Love that fell race. And then back to the oldest pub in Wales, which is always fun. I also did something that's worth mentioning, the Michigan track workout. If anyone's done track work before, this was a speed session that took nearly an hour and was 12.5K in the end.
Oh my god.
It's an absolute monster of a session, but I actually really enjoyed it. It was really strange. It's something like a mile on the track, a mile on the road, 1,200 on the track, mile on the road, 800 track, mile on that, and then like an all-out 400 at the end with recovery in between all of those. So it just takes ages. You're just running constantly. I ran like my 5th fastest 10K time in it, just doing a workout. So that was really, really fun. It was weirdly, about halfway through, I actually started to enjoy it, which is really odd in a session like that. But yeah, if anyone wants to get into a nasty, long speed session, have a look at the Michigan. That was good fun. Also then this year, this is the big thing I was talking about last time as well. I took part in the British Sled Dog Sport Federation British Championships race in Thetford Forest in Suffolk. Luckily, now I'm old, so I'm out of the senior group. Usually the Canicross races I do, there's hardly any seniors and I always get a podium place and all the competition is in the 40s. However, and this is the proper one. This is literally the British Championships. There's 3 different rounds. This is like the second of 3. But all the senior guys are very, very, very quick. I'm in my 40s. There was less. There was when I first entered, there was only 4 men total in the category, which I thought actually added a bit of pressure because I didn't want to be the only one that didn't get a medal.
Yeah.
But then there was 5, which I'm not sure if that made it better or worse. But yeah, me and William ran 18 minutes 40 for a 5K.
Nice.
I think the course might have been a little bit short. I know I've seen other people's Stravas. They're a smidge short, but other people are saying it's a measured course. We're taking it as a 5K PB. So yeah, absolutely. I'll take that as well. So 18:40 and then 18:45 on the next day, which is just like a mad PB. It's so much quicker than I've run before. And because I'm in my 40s, I ended up finishing 3rd in the category.
Nice.
So I have finished 3rd in a proper British Championships race. There might have been only 5, but I don't care.
Oh, that's very impressive.
It was so much fun, which is a good thing I wasn't in the seniors, because last place in the seniors, if I was 39, the last place was 17:41. That was last place. The winner of the men and the women's race both ran under the 5K world records.
Oh my god.
So
can anyone enter? Can anyone enter these races, or do you have to get in? Oh,
yeah, there's no. You actually don't even have to be a member, and there's no limit. There's no time limit on it. It's just, generally it attracts the quickest runners.
That's crazy.
But there's, I'm sure they would welcome more people not running at those speeds. I'm sure they would, because, more money and more people taking part in the sport is always good. The winner, Ben Robinson, did 12 minutes 15, which is the third fastest time ever, only behind himself twice. And the winner of the women's race, I can't remember her name and I feel bad about that now, but she ran under 14 minutes 2 days in a row, which is like the women's world record, I think is 14:15.
God.
And there's two women actually ran under 14 minutes, but one did it on both days. So it is crazy fast. And this is why I don't get about Canicross, is why don't more people do it? When you can run that fast. I know not all of us are going to go out run 14-minute 5Ks. But it's, I took over a minute off my PB, and it's so much fun to run that fast. And, with your dog as well, as a team, it's so good. I absolutely loved it. The course was just like reasonably flat. I think maybe 25, 30 meters elevation. So not dead flat. Could actually have been quicker, but it was just lots of very straight paths through the forest. I think at one point it was a half a mile straight line, 90-degree right turn, half a mile in a straight line. It was just lots of, not even lots, a few 90-degree turns. So like very straight bits, but it's just pure running. And the second day, I really enjoyed the second day because we went 30 seconds apart. Usually the races I do are 10 seconds apart. This one was 30 seconds, but I knew the guy ahead of me was the guy I'd just finished behind in my age category. And so I knew he was 4 seconds quicker than me on the first day. So I had to beat him by 5 seconds, and I had him in sight from the very start. And so I just knew when I started, right, he's that big now. I need to make sure he looks bigger than that by the time I finished. So I was just absolutely ran for my life. And in the end, he did run a little bit slower than the first day, which was great. And I just snuck ahead of him, I think, by 4 or 5 seconds overall over the 2 days to take my third place.
Nice.
So proud of that. I ran a Canicross race in Forest Dean last year. That's the one where all the world champions finished ahead of me. The guy who was in his 60s, I think he's maybe 62, he finished a couple of seconds ahead of me on that course. It was 5 miles, it was muddy, it was hilly. On that day in Thetford Forest, 62-year-old guy with the same dog ran 15-minute 5K.
Oh my God.
In his early 60s. So that's the difference these kind of courses make. I think his dog on that day in the Forest of Dean was kind of having a bit of an off day and looking around a bit and not really pulling him. But this guy in his 60s is running 15 minutes. He absolutely battered me. But the big thing is now there is a third round. It's in Hampshire, but I need 4 races to qualify for like an overall position. So there's 2 races coming up next month. So I think I have to do those now, don't I?
Definitely. Yeah.
Because the 2 guys I was basically racing against, that were closest to me, because the first and second were way, way out. I'm not worried about them. The 2 guys I was racing are both in Scotland, and they didn't run this race in Hampshire last year. So I'm thinking if I can get there, I think if I worked out on the points, if I can get like a 3rd and a 4th place overall on those 2 days, I can finish 3rd overall for the national championships.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to go and do that now, don't I?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I have to go and get myself an Airbnb.
Yeah.
Get myself down to Hinton Admiral, wherever that is, and have a go at that. So I guess that's my next thing I'm going to do.
100%, yeah.
I just like this, while we had a bit of a break in the podcast recording, it was like you were off doing an overseas FKT, I was running in a British Championship. It's just normal everyday things. We're just the little everyman podcast that we are.
Yeah.
Just, being super relatable. That's us.
And I love how we do it I'm going to do this FKT because no one else has done it before. And you're like, I'm going to win because these guys are in Scotland and they're probably not going to turn up.
Yes.
I love that caveat to all of it as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to get a podium because there might not be anyone else there to take it.
With a sneaky podcast.
Yeah, that is the way to do it. Another quick couple of things. This weekend was the Welsh Cross Country Championships. We got to debut my new club gazebo. We're extremely excited about this. We are now one of the proper clubs. When you go to these big events and they've all got their massive gazebos with all the branding on, we finally got ourselves one of them. We feel like one of the big boys now. That was very exciting. And in a stark difference to Canicross, in the Welsh Cross Country Championships, in my age category, I finished last, which is much more like it.
Yeah.
That is much more representative of where I should be in my age category. So again, this is why more people should do Canicross, but not while I'm doing it because you'll spoil it for me. But yeah, last in the Welsh Cross Country Championships, third in the British Championships for Canicross. Sure. I also did a long run this morning. I did just a little bit of trespassing to a new trig. I just realised there's a trig like half a mile from my house, which I didn't know about because it's just in the middle of a private field, which usually has livestock in. It doesn't at the moment, so I snuck over there before dawn, before the farmer was out of bed. Actually, not likely because farmers get out of bed really early, don't they? But I'm sure there was nothing in the field, so he probably didn't give a shit. So I just ran over there, touched the new trig.
Trespassing, it's not a criminal offence, it's a civil offence.
There we go. That's
fine.
That's what I would use. Yeah, that's no problem. And I think it's to touch a trig, so I think that's okay, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
That's completely fine.
Yeah.
So that was very exciting. I got to do that, and then I also got Alsatianed in the nuts.
Oh.
I was just like on my way up one of the other local hills. There was a guy had a few dogs. This Alsatian was very pleased to see me. It was like bouncing around a bit. I was like, "Oh, hello," and it just jumped up at me and just whacked me in the balls.
Oh no!
So I'm like, "Oh!" So I just had like a big stain on my shorts, like I pissed myself.
Yeah. Nice.
But I was like, no, that's an Alsatian paw. That's not anything else. He's just very pleased to see me. Obviously, the guy's very apologetic. I'm like, nah, it's fine. That's just what they do. They're very excited. And I finally got to go up a mountain near my house that I haven't been up. And so it's always nice. Just new trails, new mountains, new peaks. More of that later on from me. Yeah, loads going on. Very excited.
Nice.
Where have you been? What have you been up to?
Not much. Yeah, I went over to Lanzarote, so I mentioned on the last few podcasts that I was going to go over and try and get the FKT, the women's FKT there. So there's a long distance trail that goes through all the Canary Islands, but this section was just Lanzarote of the GR131. It runs from north to south of the island, pretty much through the middle of the island. And I still think at the moment, spoiler alert, there's no women's FKT for supported, unsupported, whatever, like none whatsoever. There's only one FKT on there, and it's just one man who did it supported, I think. So it's 44-ish miles. So the plan was to go over there by just being the first woman to run it, get the FKT. So that was the plan. I was like super anxious going, like more anxious than I ever am for races, because I was just in my head, when you're going overseas, there's lots of moving parts, and in my head I'm like, oh god, I'm going to get the flu. You know how this time of year everyone's got flu or norovirus, so the week leading up to it I'm like washing my hands all the time. I'm like super cautious. I'm like, as soon as anyone coughs near me, I'm like getting away, because the thing is, I've been planning this for a year. Actually, I've been planning this, and I thought, sod's law, somebody will give me the flu or I'll get some illness and I won't be able to do it. And when you're flying overseas to do something that's your own planning, it's not like, oh, I can just go and do that race next year, because there is no race next year. I'd have to sort it all out again for myself. So yeah, I was like super nervous, and I was nervous that my flight wasn't going to leave or yeah, anyway. But I got there fine. The first hiccup came hiring the fucking car. Oh my god, that was like a whole thing, because usually Lanzarote, there's lots of people hire cars. So there's like car hire places everywhere. On one street, I think there was like 6 car hire places we were going to try and hire a car. So usually when I go, I've been to Lanzarote quite a few times now, trail running, and usually when you go, you can just rock up and just walk in somewhere and just get a car. There's loads of them, and they're all like €10 a day, dead cheap. Just to say, I went with my mum, and her friend Jo, and they were my crew, and they were like fantastic. They were absolutely brilliant as crew. My mum got like proper into it. She was like,
she printed t-shirts.
She printed t-shirts out. She was like, she was on it. She was so good. If anyone wants to hire my mum out as their crew, definitely. She was top notch for not being a runner as well. She was just
get in touch
brilliant.
with us. We'll put you in touch for a small fee.
Yeah. She was like brilliant, and my mum's a nurse as well, so I felt quite safe. Well,
Handy,
both
yeah.
Jo's a nurse too, so I had 2 nurses, so I felt like I had a medical crew with me as well, which is brilliant. But usually the thing is with being with nurses, they were all like, yeah, you're fine, just do it, just get on with it, it's fine, don't worry, because obviously like you're not actually dying, bleeding out, so like yeah, you're fine, just go. So the first hiccup came with hiring a car, so that was just like a nightmare. We managed to find the one place that had a car left to hire for like a silly price, more than you should pay for like a few days. So because initially I was thinking, well, plan B could be that they hop on the buses and sort of meet me at places. And then the buses were like every 3 hours. I was like, no, we're gonna definitely need to have a car for this. But we sorted all that out. So Day started quite early. The thing is about Lanzarote, although the temperatures are really nice this time of year, it is still winter, so you don't get a lot of daylight. I think there's between 10 and 12 hours of daylight, depending how cloudy it is and what your sunrise and sunset's like. But it's between 10 and 12 hours, so it's not a massive amount of time. So I started about 7:30, I think, and it was nice and cool in the morning. Really lovely. First, 6 miles went without a hitch. Really enjoyed it. 6 miles in, I was getting up to the first checkpoint. So along the route, there's various towns that you go through. So I'd organise with my mum and Joe to meet me at those towns with the car, and in the back of the car I had my waters and everything that I needed at each point. So I was getting to the first checkpoint, which was Harrier, which was I think 6 or 7 miles in. I'm about a mile outside the town, and I got attacked by a dog. And I'm not being
oh my God, of course.
And listen, right? I've never been properly attacked by a dog before. And I don't mean this dog was just overexcited and running up to me. And it was aggressive. And luckily, it was only a little terrier thing. But it came running. I was running through in between some farmland. This dog came running out of nowhere, really barking, bit me on my shoes, bit my shoelace, went, "Argh!" Like that. I actually bit my shoes, and then kept going for my legs. And I was like, obviously it's just a little terrier. And I think if I'd have been at home, I probably would have kicked it. I would have kicked it out of the way. Mm-hmm. But all I'm thinking in my head is, if this dog bites me and breaks the skin, I'm going to have to go somewhere, get injections. I was
admin then.
Yeah, I wasn't so nervous about it hurting me because it was literally just a little dog and I could easily, like I said, kick it. But I was so scared of going to kick it because I was moving my feet that way and going, get away like that. And it was getting more and more angry at me. Bitch, you're the one chasing me. Leave me alone. And then after a while, I had to change my tacks, and I was like, it's okay, I'm your friend. And I had to stop and walk, and this thing was following me, and it was properly, going for my calves, reaching out and just narrowly missing my legs every single time. It was properly scary. After I'd got off of its territory or whatever, I rang my mum, and I'm like, can you just go to a shop and get me some deodorant or something I can spray, please? Because in my head, because the thing is, in Spain, a lot of people have dogs for guard dog purposes. And the other thing is, which is really crazy, because I think a lot of Spain, they have, I don't know whether it's law, but they have a lot of rules about keeping dogs on the lead. Lanzarote, people do not give a shit. The dogs are fucking feral. I think because it's not so densely populated, people constantly have their dogs just off the lead, and they will just run up to you. They will run up and square up to you. It felt proper. So after that 6 miles in, I was like, I need something to defend myself against dogs. But yeah, I've never been properly attacked by a dog before, but I have now. And luckily, it didn't quite bite me. Like I said, it bit my shoes, but it didn't quite break through to the skin. So that was interesting. So yeah, I got to the first sort of checkpoint bit in Harrier. Felt really good. I'd done a lot of climbing, and then there was the highest point on the island that was coming up just after Harrier. And yeah, so the next section between Harrier and Costa d'Agisi, that's where it all just sort of fell apart. It was so hot. And the thing is about Lanzarote, people make jokes about it because people go expecting winter sun. And often what they find is it's windy and cloudy a lot. It's warm, but it's not, a lot of the time, it's not super, super warm because you have a lot of wind on the island and you have a lot of cloud. Not that day. I think that was the only day out of the entire week where the sky was pretty much cloudless for most of it. And there was, nice. I'd say about 70% of it, I was at points where it was just still. The air was just completely still. And the thing is, because it's volcanic, it's almost like the sun, it sort of goes into the ground and sort of bounces back up at you almost, if that makes sense. You can feel the heat radiating off the ground into you. It was so, so hot. So I'm doing this climb and I'm having to stop every 5 minutes because I am sweating. I'd gone through so much water. I'd gone through litres and litres of water, but it was just so, so hot. I think it must have been, I think on my app it was 23 degrees, but it must have felt about 30 just because it was so still. And I'm terrible in the heat anyway. I'm really not good in the heat. So I got to the next checkpoint, which is at Costa d'Agisi, which is a little market town. And I met my mum and Joe at a cafe, and I just sat in the shade. And honestly, at that point, this is 15 miles in, at that point I was like, I don't think I can do it. Even at this point, I was just so hot. I had a Coke though, and I put some Coke into my water bottle. And after I'd sat down for about half an hour, I was like, okay, I can go, I can continue. And that's what it was like throughout the whole day. Actually, I'd get to like a checkpoint, and I'd have to sit down for about half an hour, and I'd have to have like something to drink. Not that, like I said, I was carrying enough water. I was hydrated, but I just needed to sit in the shade for a bit. I think I was just so hot, like the whole way. So yeah, after that there was a lot of walking. Like I was running fine before that, but then just progress became really slow. I think the heat was just really getting to me. So I got to the next town, which was San Bartolome. I had another like sort of 30-minute sit down in a cafe and a drink and just sort of sort myself out. And then the next section, so for the next section of the route, and you can sort of see it if you look at the route map, there's a straight road to the next town, which is Montana Blanca, I think, or something like that. But there's a straight road from San Bartolome to the next town, and you sort of go off the road and you loop round a small mountain, and there's a bigger mountain next to it. So the route sort of goes off. I think it's about 3 miles that you do this loop, and then you rejoin the road. So already at that point, I'm like, oh God, I can't be asked like loop round this mountain to then go back on kind of a similar road to what I was already on. But that's part of the route, and I'm like, okay, I need to do that as part of the FKT. So I go to this loop, and I got to pretty much the halfway point, and it was through a bit of a farm, and obviously the farmers that were working there, lived there, whatever, had just blocked off the trail. They'd put like a fence across, and I could see, I was stood on this road, I was almost in fucking tears at this point. I was stood on this road, and I could see because all the way along the route for the full 44 miles, there's markers. It's really well marked. There's these little stump things with like a red marker on it that says the route, the GR131, and there's also kilometre markers every kilometre as well. So I stood on this path, and I could see the fucking markers on the other side of this fence, and the problem was there was loads of signs, and a lot of them were in English as well, because they were obviously sick of people walking through what they saw as their land. So there's all these signs saying, do not pass, do not trespass, guard dogs, da 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 da. And there was also houses nearby, and I thought it wasn't even like it was in the middle of nowhere. I had no phone signal either, so I couldn't like pull out my phone and check like if there looked like there might be a route or something going through, or how long this private land or whatever it is might be. So I thought, I can't go through this, I can't risk going through. So I just had to turn around, go back to the main road, and just run along that till I eventually got to this town. And I just rang Freya, because like I said, I had hardly any signal. So I rang Freya, and I'm like, from where you are, can you just check if the road I'm on, because she was like tracking me, I was like, can you just check if the road I'm on eventually joins up with this town? So she was like having to direct me, and I could see on my my GPS and my watch as well, I could see where the trail was and how far away I was. I just couldn't see the actual route. But at that point, I was like, fuck the FKT. Because that's the thing. I know you can, like, if you're sending in a report, you can say, oh, and this part of the trail was blocked off and all that. But I'm like, you know what? I just want to finish. I just want to run the whole thing. I'm not, like, run the whole island. Fuck the FKT. At this point, I was like, I don't care about, like, being on the website. Like, that does not bother me at this point. I was so pissed off. So yeah, if anyone's thinking about doing that route, you can't. I looked when I uploaded it up to Strava, and you can see the heat map. You can see that other people have run it. You can see like it used to be like the route, and they've just completely just completely blocked it off. So I had all that drama. Got to the next checkpoint, which was Conil, which there was about 15 miles to go at this point. Again, I just felt absolutely shit. It'd been so hot, and you're walking constantly on these dirt paths, and it's just like so hot, just so hot. So I got to a car park in Conil where I met my mum and Joe, and I just sat in the back of the car, and I said, I don't think I can do it. And I sat there, I was eating my bagel. I had bagels with Biscoff in, which was amazing. Like the Biscoff spread. Like they were like,
a classy snack.
They were so good. And the thing is, I felt okay. I didn't feel hungry or anything like that. It was purely the heat. It was just purely the heat I really struggled with. So I sat in the back of this, and also I'd been on my feet a long time, because like I said, I wasn't running as much as I wanted to. So I'd been out for a long time. Sat in the back of the car, I was like, I really don't think I can do this. I don't think I can carry on. And I sat in the car for about half an hour, but then I thought, you know what? I can't quit in the car. I need to like be out running. I can't because if I'm sat in a car, of course I'm going to feel like I don't want to carry on. I need to like be out and moving, and then at that point I'll know if I can do any more. So, as has happened at every single sort of point where I've stopped, had something to eat, had something to drink, got out of the car, felt absolutely fine again. Felt absolutely fine. The sun was starting to go down, which was good, so it was starting to get a lot cooler. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing great. I think I posted my Instagram story like, yeah, I'm fine now. I'm absolutely fine. I can do this. Even if I got to do it in the dark, I can do this. Anyway, come out of the town, and it's starting to get dark. The sun's starting to set. And I go sort of out of the town into the mountains a bit, and it got properly dark, and it was the scariest thing. I don't know, there was something absolutely terrifying about it because it was so dark. Like I've never been in darkness like that because there's nothing to see. I mean, I looked at the map and I could see where I was. On one side there was just like mountains, but on the other side was the national park, and there's no proper roads going through the national park. And there is a road that sort of cuts below it, but you couldn't see that from where I was. So it was complete darkness. I had no idea what was around me. All I could see was my head torch, what was directly in front of me, and I had a decent head torch, but even with that on full whack, I couldn't see anything. But at this point I'm running again. I'm terrified. I'm doing like 10-minute miles, fucking 35 miles deep, and I'm like running down this mountain because it is so scary. I'm like, I need to get back to civilization. So again, I'm on the phone with Freya. I'm like, I'm really scared. It's really dark. There was just, obviously I've run loads of times in the dark before. I've done ultras that have ended in the dark, but it just felt so scary. I couldn't see anything. I've never been in darkness like it. So yeah, I knew I was coming up to a town again where I was going to meet my mum and Joe again, in a town called Uga. And the thing is about the GL131 is that a lot of it is on road, and it's basically a lot of it is on their equivalent to a motorway. So it's roads where it's between sort of anywhere between sort of 80 and 100 kilometers per hour. These roads. Now in the day that is absolutely fine because you can see people, they can see you. There's people cycle loads in Lanzarote, so cars are really good about going around you and stuff. They're used to people out running and cycling. There was at one point I had to cross like this massive sort of motorway type thing, and but it didn't feel bad in the dark, in the light. Sorry, it felt absolutely fine. Felt really safe. People gave me loads of space. Felt fine. In the dark, that's a whole other thing. So I came out of this mountain range type thing, and I'm on this 80 kilometer per hour road in the pitch black, and it's like a twisty road as well. So you couldn't really see cars coming until they were right on you, sort of thing. And I only had to run like a few hundred meters down this road and cross it to get to the next town. And before this, I was like questioning. I was like, oh, I can probably still do it. It's very, very dark, because I felt fine. I was like, it's very, very dark, but that's fine. I can do it. I was on this road. I'm like, no, this is not safe. This does not feel safe. I felt, like I said, I had my head torch on, but obviously if somebody is around the back of me or something, I was probably just absolutely invisible. It was so dark out there and the cars were coming so fast. I was like, this does not feel safe. And I knew the next section had loads of road bits in it as well. So I thought, no, I'm just going to stress the entire way, and it's just really not worth getting hit by a car. So I got to Uga. I'd already been running like 12 hours at this point, anyway. And I was like, you know what? I'm done for today. I'm done for today. And initially I was I'm done, full stop. I've done 35 miles. I've done an ultra. Like I would say it was a good day. It was shit in some respects because it was so hot, but I thought it was an amazing route. Like the route was really nice. Saw some really lovely, like amazing scenery that you wouldn't normally see unless you were doing something like this. So yeah, I'd had like a good day in that respect. So I was like, you know what, I'm done. Packed it in there. And then when I got home the next day, after I reflect, I thought, why don't I just go and finish it off? Like I came here to run the whole thing. It doesn't really matter if I do it over 2 days. So I gave it like a couple of days to just chill. I really hurt my toe as well. I don't know what I'd done to my toe, but I hurt something in my toe. So I was just like, had a couple of days just to chill. And then I went out. So I ran the first bit on the Saturday. I went out on the Tuesday and thought I'm just going to bang out the final 11 miles, which was Uga to Playa Blanca. I'm just gonna get it done. I ended up having horrific sinusitis, which I get that a lot, but like horrific. And I think it's because it was all the dust. Like when I washed my clothes in the hotel sink, like all the dust and dirt that came out of it, because it's just pure. It's a volcanic island. It's just pure dust everywhere. And I had the most horrific sinusitis that I've ever had in my life, and I think it was just irritated by all. So I did the final 11 miles, and my face was in so much pain, and I was so congested, and then my toe hurt as well. So my face and my toe were hurting. But it did confirm, doing it, did confirm that I shouldn't have carried on in the dark, because I would say like 50% of it at least was on road. Like just on road. And I was going through towns, and even in the light, I was going through towns where there were no pavements. You were just sort of on the road. And even then, like, cars were like pulling out junctions, and you were having to be really careful that somebody just didn't like pull into you and that they could see you. So even, you know, in the dark, I think that would have been really, really unsafe. And then the final bit was over just like basically a massive lava field, which I think would have been quite tricky navigating in the dark as well. The final part was kind of shit. The final part was just not very scenic. Lots of lava field and rocks. I kept bashing the same toe that I hurt over and over and over fucking again. So that wasn't the best, but I got it done. I got back to Playa Blanca. It took me a while. I had to do a lot of walking just because my face was just absolutely really killing me, and my toe really hurt. And then I finished, and I met my mum and Joe at the end, and they were all cheering. They're like, "Yay!" And I was just like, "I'm done." I am so like, I felt so bad. We went to a cafe so I could have a drink. I just sort of sat there for like 20 minutes, just not saying anything. And they're like, "Oh, you pleased you've done it?" I'm like, "Yep." I just felt so shit. My whole face was in so much pain, like so much pain. My toe hurt. I think I was just exhausted. And again, it was another really hot day actually. So I was just like absolutely exhausted. But I finished it.
What a lovely holiday. So your two takeaways from this are that Africa is hot.
Yeah.
And nighttime is dark.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly
Those are the kind of the things you've learned.
The funny thing is that this past week, so the week after I went out, the weather's been like raining, cloud. I'm like, that could have been me. But it's really hard with Lanzarote. Like I said, you want to get a day when it's windy, which is most days, and a bit cloudy, which is most days. But the other thing is, like, a few days later, there was a massive Kalima, I think it's called, which is basically like a massive dust storm they get over there. So they're actually quite dangerous for your health. You should just try and stay inside when those happen. Yeah, so it's really difficult getting it right out there on the best days to run. But yeah, it was just way too hot for me. And everyone was saying that day, "Oh, no, yeah, it's a really warm day today. Like, there's no wind." I'm like, yeah, it was absolutely horrific. But I do recommend it as a route. If anyone's interested in sort of going and setting yourself a challenge, you could do it. I mean, I had like a crew, but you could definitely do it solo. Like, by the time you get to all those towns, all the cafes open about 9 o'clock, you know, and a lot of them are open till late. So you're only really going, I would say at the most, usually about 6 miles before you hit a town with like a little shopping. So it's definitely a really good route to do, to just go out and you can do it easy.
Maybe over a few days and have a nice time.
You could do, or you could just...
Rather than smashing it all out in one day.
Bang it out in one day. But you could... What I'm saying is, if you're that way inclined, if you're into your ultras and stuff like that, you could... It's definitely achievable to bang that out in one day. It was about 6,000 feet of elevation as well, most of which is in the first half, so it's not crazy elevation. So yeah.
And as you said, there's no woman on the FKT board yet, so get yourself on there.
And there's only
before someone good comes along.
There's only one man who did it in 7 hours. I'm like, mate, how have you done this in 7 hours? I think it was 6:55 or something he did it in, which is crazy for 45 miles. So yeah, but there's only one man on there as well who did it supported, I think. So yeah, it's definitely. I would really recommend it though, and it's very, very well signposted. I know the GR131 and some of the other Canary Islands isn't as well signposted, but I was so impressed that every kilometre there would be a post with like the kilometre on it.
I like that.
Like, that's insane. And bearing in mind, this is not just counting down the kilometres for Lanzarote, this is for the entire Canary Islands. Like, kilometre 1 is one of the entire route, which I think it's about just under 400 miles, the entire route. But yeah. So yeah, it was an interesting experience. You know, when you've just finished and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to go back next year and do it again." I'm like, I don't think I am going to try it again.
No,
I've done the whole route now. I've done the route.
Enough. You've got that on Strava, on your like heat map. You'll see there's a nice line
Yeah.
across the island.
That's all
and
I wanted.
That's what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly. I found like a really cool website where you can like combine Strava activities together, so you can have them as like one continuous thing. So I'm like, yep, I can see it as my route. I've done it, despite all odds, despite being attacked by a dog. I got it done. So, yeah, that was it. That was my adventure.
Well done.
Didn't get the FKT. To be honest,
No.
even if I had done it all in one day, I don't know whether I would have got the FKT anyway, because I was like going off the route to get like food and water. I don't know. I got like halfway through and I'm like, I don't fucking care about being on the website. I just want to get it done, you know? So I wasn't disappointed at the end that I didn't get what could have been an FKT, because I'm like, bitch, the way I've ran this, it probably wouldn't be accepted anyway. So
Been all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you end up doing longer, I don't think they're that fast.
No, and I do need to. I keep thinking I do need to sign up and like tell them that part of the route is blocked off just for other people, so they don't end up in the same situation, and maybe so like an alternative route can be sort of logged. But yeah, because that bit of the route is just completely blocked off. But yeah, that's me.
Well done.
Thanks.
Well, it's thanks to our patrons that we do things like this. I mean, it didn't pay for Amy's whole holiday, but it's
No,
it's a segue.
Give that caveat. You haven't paid
Yeah.
me to go all the way to Lanzarote.
But it does pay for some of these other things that we get to do, and we very much appreciate that. And you can support this podcast by going to patreon.com/runningisbullshit and giving us money every month if you want. New this week is Erica Varys. Thank you very much. And we had a cancellation, which is also great news. Just to kick off the singing in 2025, here is some maximum cringe. Jenny Thomas, Seppi Drew, Edwards, Brian Simpson, Kiara Evans, Karen Blade, Kat, Abigail Harkin, Noms Dawson, Sandra Hines, Raymond Quinn, Claire Dinas, Spencer Aldred, Elizabeth Shaban, Alice Newstead, Mark Willis, Francis Hal, J. Shambolic, Adult, Ruth Perkins, Victoria Magnus, Elliot Line, Tony Boyle, Matt Burrows, Lee Wood, Erica Varys, Sherry Kinnison, Matt Catherine, Rich Skirm, Derry, AP, Matt A. Rachel, Bullmore, Andy, Robbins, Victoria Cousins, Tom Wilcock, Karen Hamilton, David Irwin, Matt Jeziorsky, Penny Simpson, H.B. Steve Robson, Amanda Murrayheim, Angela Foster Swales, Julia Page, Catherine Brown, Charlie Neverson, Nikki Genders, Neil Denton, Liz Reese, Steve Peake, Andy Nichols, Tony Howells, Matt Jones, Gail Seal, Anthony Howe, Len Martin, Matt Newbury, Vicky Robbins, Jonathan Carter, Daniel Braun, Debbie Hurley, Jay Howells, Graham Hackland, Matt Lees, Cheryl Curran, Kel Ryder, Paul Hibbert, Sherry Grubbs, Kath Everard, Rachel Bentley, Matt Garner, Bernadette McCarthy, Stuart Stevens, Jason Spinks, Bill B. and Thompson, Adam Baker, Gabby Thomas, Naya, Greg, Sierra Shaw, Dawn Shepherd, Marta Kaplan, Taryn Milligan, David Yellowback Tito, Icky Jones, Ian Hales, Ivor Hewitt, Maria Wicks, Lisa Gibbon, Sophie Jacks, Fergus, Victoria Dick, Larry Warren, Claire Davis, Ruth K. B. Clark Gilmore. Let's talk about 2025. New year, new us, right? Yeah. Well, seeing as January's nearly over, we thought what better time to look ahead to the rest of the year with some of our plans before getting into the stupid things our listeners want to do. I will go first and give my boring answer for 2025 is basically I want to get a 10k and a half marathon PB. That's very boring. And I want to go under 20 minutes for 5k again without a dog. Very boring kind of normal things that people want to do. Don't care about that. The more interesting answer is I want to do mountains. This was my intention last year. I wanted to do more mountains, more elevation. But then I ended up doing the stupid marathon in Paris for the Olympics. So that kind of ruined all my training. I'm already making like a list of peaks and routes that I'd like to do. Some I've done before, some I haven't done, some I feel like I really should have done. So I'm making my own little list to go and try and do some things. I think it'll probably be more into spring, summer when I'll start doing those when the weather improves. But that's, what I really want to do some mountains, do some kind of more kind of hikey type runs. Should be very fun. I haven't really got anything on the calendar past spring, but something else I want to try and do this year is to do some new races. Because a lot of times I just do my favourite races, and I like some of these races I've done like 5 times in a row. And that means I don't do other races. Because as we know now, every weekend there's like 5 races you can do in like a 30-mile radius of wherever you live now. So I need to try some of those other races. I've already had to like sacrifice a fell race this month that I always do. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do another one instead. So I'm trying to do that a bit more. I thought I was cutting down the number of races that I was doing. I've looked at the first 4 months of the year and I've got 10 penciled in. Just for the first 4 months, which is quite a lot. And I thought I was cutting down, so I don't know how that's going to work. But then some of those are like the Canicross, where it's 2 5Ks kind of back to back. So, that is still quite hard though. So yeah, I'm going to try not to do 10 for the next sets of 4 months. Otherwise that'd be 30 in a year, which I think I did about that last year, which is too many to be sensible. So I'm going to try and do some mountains. That's basically my answer. What about you?
I think I'm saying this now, I don't really want to do ultras this year.
Yes,
I know.
Yes. Oh, thank.
I kind of want.
Amy's getting fast.
Yeah, I'm not getting fast. I don't want to. I just
damn
don't want to do long events as much.
We'll get there.
I don't want to do like super short events either. But I think I want to focus more on trail running, but short, like sort of half marathon to marathon distances. I think that's what I've been enjoying lately.
Ultra halves.
Exactly. Because
Between half, it's like an ultra marathon, but an ultra half.
exactly,
I like those
maybe
as well.
maximum like a marathon, because it's still like a good day or half day out, but you're not out for like 12, if you're me, you're not out for like 12, 13, 14 fucking hours, because I enjoy trail running, but at certain points I'm like, I'm done with this now, I'm tired of this. Whereas like the half trail marathon that I did a few trail half marathons last year, and I really enjoyed them. It was just a nice amount of time. It usually takes me between 3 and 4 hours, and that's just like a nice amount of time to be
It's
out
enough,
running.
isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So
I always found in the ultras that I did, once I got to 20 and particularly 25 miles, I'd just be fucking miserable. And I would never enjoy those last 6, 7, 8 miles.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I need to do more like 20 to 25 mile races.
Yeah, exactly.
If anything, that's probably what I'll look at a little bit as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm thinking for this year. It's not to say I'm never going to do ultras again, but the other thing I might look at is just, I really enjoy doing trying to do the FKT. So maybe looking at some local trails, seeing if there's FKTs going, and just going out and doing my own thing. I really enjoyed the planning of that and that sort of thing.
Some of those nice linear routes,
exactly.
I quite like them. When you can do a point-to-point somewhere, because it looks so satisfying on the map.
Yeah, exactly. And as well, like even if they are sort of ultra distances, the idea of sort of going out and stopping halfway if I want to and going back and doing it the next day or another day down the line, like stuff like that, I quite like the idea of just, and obviously that wouldn't be an FKT, but just doing the entire route. I like that completionist. Doing an entire route is really nice. And on the topic of that, I am also thinking doing some more of the GR131, maybe a similar time, January time next year, maybe going and doing like the next island along, so Forteventura, which is about 100 miles. So just splitting that up over a few days, of running and just doing like the next island along, maybe every year, just do that until I've done the whole GR131, would be pretty cool. But yeah, so that's what I'm thinking, like shorter distances, but still maybe doing those longer trails, but just split up into like multi-day type things. Yeah.
Bit of adventuring.
Exactly. That's exactly it. I do want to do some races and some shorter races, but when I've been doing organised races over the past year or so, I have enjoyed them, but I much more enjoy doing things on my own, to be honest. I much more enjoyed doing the FKT on my own. It just felt like less pressure. I felt like more in control of it. So yeah, I think that might be on the cards for this year. A few races, but a lot of like going out and doing stuff on my own too.
Cool. Okay, let's get into some of the things that some of our listeners are going to do and see if they're good or bad ideas.
Yes, Tony Howe said, I may actually run. That's a bad idea. I was a little pissed off with myself that I spent more pounds on Strava last year than I ran miles. Oof.
Oh, that hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Strava have got you there.
Mm-hmm.
Mavanwi Thomas says, I really felt I did too many ultras and marathons last year. I agree. So I resolved to only do one big one, the Edam, in 2025. Then somebody told me how good Man vs. Horse was, and I accidentally entered that too. No doubt I'll enter a couple more accidentally, and we'll end up with the same burnout by the end of the year. Now, Man vs. Horse, I said this on the Facebook post, not a marathon, so it doesn't count. That's fine. That's only 40k. It's an easy one.
Easy.
Oof.
Kat Williams said, I massively suffered in the 41-mile Vogum, so I'm doing the 50-mile Edam this year with dodgy joints, a digestive system that has a personal vendetta against my running, and oh yes, the race is the day after my 40th birthday. I also have a place for marathon, Aruri. I don't like road races. I prefer ultras to marathons, but FOMO got the better of me when people were signing up to the ballot. It'll be fine.
Yeah, people talk about Areri basically as an ultra because of the elevation in there. It's pretty much an ultra rather than a marathon. And you get some off-road sections as well.
Also, 2 people signing up for the Edam as their big races.
And also saying, I'm not really into ultras, so I'll just do a 50-mile race, which is really nasty.
Yeah.
Cool. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Around a military training ground where you'd be walking over like dead sheep and shells and, oh gosh. I mean, it'd be fine.
Chris Pratt said, hovering on the verge of committing to 10 marathons in 10 days. Been on my radar for a few years now, but I need to give it a shot. All in a year where I also want to dip below my best age grade at 5k. Converse opposite plans. That is the way to do a plan.
Yeah.
I want to do this thing, but also entirely the opposite at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet the amount of people getting coaches now, and I bet they love shit like this. The amount of people come to them must be doing this all the time. Like, yeah, I want to do 10 marathons in 10 days. I also want to get a 5k PB. Is that going to be okay? And they're like, oh, fucking hell.
You need to get Gemma as a coach because she will tell you no. That's not okay. You're not doing that.
Absolutely fucking will not do that.
No. Andy Nichols says, as I'm getting slower at my main sport, brackets running / orienteering, and lacking motivation to do any training over an hour ever, I've decided to sign up to an event I have even less aptitude for, a 10k swim, which will take me hours.
Oh, that's a long way to swim.
I can't even I can't even imagine how long it takes to swim 10k. I just can't translate swimming 10k.
It's so much slower than you think.
Yeah.
It's just mad. Oh, that's too long.
Yeah, definitely.
Erica Varis-Doggett says, plans, a 50k, a triathlon, a smaller triathlon, and maybe triathlon nationals? Nothing like going to a super competitive event as a back of the packer because you accidentally qualified on some age bracket shenanigans. Oh, that is what triathlons are good for, to be fair. She said, a BS this week was local natural disasters, fires in LA and Ventura counties, means that apparently my tendon injury is acting up due to stress. I'm convinced this injury is fully BS now. It was fine, but stress happened, so therefore it's yelling at me. Shake my head. How do tendons hurt because you're stressed? Is that a thing?
Were you like running away from the fires? Is that what's...
I mean, that would make sense, but like, is that a thing that happens now as well? That's annoying.
I mean, yeah, you're probably holding your body tense, you know. So,
Oh.
but yeah, I hope you're okay if you're living in that area. I hope you're safe and all your house and stuff is safe. So, yeah. Helen Patricia said, big plan, in all caps, so you know it's a really big plan, is London Marathon, even though I said I would never do a marathon again.
It's a good theme here.
Yeah. Previous ones have broken me, and I obviously haven't learned. I ended up with chronic I said IBS then, sorry. I ended up with chronic ITB issues, and possibly plantar fasciitis. I can never say it. Fasciitis. It's just fasciitis, isn't it?
Yeah.
I ended up with chronic ITB issues and possibly plantar fasciitis, which was caused by a track marathon, although that might have been the constant circling, probably. I entered the ballot and didn't get in. Anyway, my run club held a ballot and I stupidly put into that and won it. Last year when I had PF. What's PF?
Plantar fasciitis.
Okay. I couldn't run, so instead of just not going, I deferred to this year. So many chances not to do it. Gosh.
Yeah, the universe was telling you not to do it, and you're like, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep persisting with it. I don't want to do it, but I'm going to keep going anyway.
Yeah.
Oh. Finally, Lauren Ranford says, hey guys, still loving the show. Well, Good to hear, thanks. This is always my favourite kind of compliments. My last 3 running years have been absolute shite. Lots of stress leading to injuries, etc. But this year I turned 40. My long-term goal was to run a 100k event before I turned 40. On my 2 previous attempts, once I stopped at 85 due to an excruciatingly painful inflamed tendon sheath in my foot. Ooh. And on the second attempt, had to tap out at 35k due to ongoing knee issues exacerbated by terrible weather and awful course. My shoes kept getting sucked into the mud while crossing farmland, which fucked my bad knee, and one participant actually got swept away down a stream. Not funny.
That's not funny, but
it's not funny, but it is a little bit funny.
Are they okay?
If they're fine, it's funny.
Yeah.
If they're not fine, it's not funny. Also, I love the way she's like censored herself writing the word fucked.
Yeah.
It always amuses me when people do that when they're writing to us. Because it's fine. You're okay. She says, so now I have to go from my current state of inconsistently running 35-ish K a week, inconsistent due to family obligations and lack of support, to surviving a 100K event before October. Wish me luck.
Oh, Lauren.
No, I don't think you should. Again, this is someone telling you shouldn't be doing these events.
Yeah.
So I don't think you should be.
No.
Stop it.
No.
100k is too far.
Sort your family out.
Yeah.
Tell them to get a grip. Then you go out and
Exactly.
you go out and do your runs.
Give them some crew t-shirts. They'll be on board.
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh, lots of bad ideas.
Yeah, well done, everyone. Keep them coming. Let us know if you've got a stupid idea that you're not going to be able to achieve and you'll end up just disappointing yourself. Mm-hmm. We want to hear about them. And when they inevitably go wrong, you know where to come.
Yeah. On to your messages. Don't forget to get in touch with your running bullshit on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Running is BS and let us know why you particularly hate running this week.
Yeah, Emma Foy has done that, and she let us know about a company called Ving in Thailand who have created carbon running sandals. For some reason, I can see you in these, Amy.
I need to click on it. I need to have a look.
Apparently, like, running sandals are a thing.
Yeah, they are, definitely.
But these ones have just got that little bit, like, between your big and second toe. And I just feel on a big run, that's just going to chafe, isn't it?
Well, I thought the whole point of running sandals was to be really, like, almost completely barefoot, but to protect the sole of your feet from nasty things.
Yeah, absolutely fuck up the inside of your big toe, surely.
Yeah.
But these ones have got a carbon plate in some running sandals. So I guess they're lightweight, certainly, but
I don't know.
Well, very strange.
I guess if you want that more barefoot type approach, but also something that's the exact opposite of barefoot, then great. Yeah.
Unfortunately, these seem to be only available in Thailand. They don't have an English website, so keep an eye on that. Hopefully they come soon.
Gabby Naya has asked a question we didn't think need to be asked. Great. She said, would you have said something if the runner in front of you has poo all down their shorts and over their left thigh? Nope. Good. I just hope they noticed before sitting down on something or their friend's car. #proper BS. I would assume they knew.
Yeah, if you haven't noticed you've shit yourself, that's a whole different issue.
No, I'd assume they knew.
And they probably don't need to be told.
No. How would you say that? Like, oh, excuse me, you've got like shit all down your back.
You've got brown on you.
You've got brown on you. Okay, you've fallen over. Oh God.
I did hear a good story recently from someone I know who did shit themselves in a race. They and the race shall remain nameless, but I did very much appreciate the story of them shitting themselves and then having someone, while they were in the toilet sorting themselves out, someone just walked in mid wipe.
What? No.
Oh yeah.
How did that happen?
It was a whole thing.
Oh God.
Yeah.
There's like two things that should be separate in life. You know, shitting yourself is bad enough, and then somebody walking in on you while you're mid-wipe.
While you're trying to clean it all off yourself.
Yeah, that's like two different traumas, really. They shouldn't really be combined. Jesus.
Yeah, that was very funny. So thank you very much for that. We've got an email. Says, Dear Amy and Stuart, catching up with December's episodes as the last month has been spent eating to excess with no time for podcasts. Sorry, not sorry. No, excellent use of time. I distinctly heard you ask for torn off toenail photos, so happy to oblige.
No one asked for that.
Have you scrolled down on this, Amy? Because
No,
the photos
I've already seen it.
rough.
I've already seen it. I'm not looking again.
She says, picture the scene. October 2017, Lisbon Marathon. If it wasn't already hideous enough, too hot, too far, too many people cheering me on, too many EDF buffs used as loo roll and stuffed down the Portaloo,
No.
It became infinitely more hideous. Whilst climbing onto the Airbnb yacht the day after, we're coming back to that, my stupid ex caught my foot with his stupid shoe, knocked my already excruciating big toenail right back as I was wearing flip-flops, back to a level where it's just attached on one edge. Stupid ex couldn't even do a proper job and knock it off completely. Would have had more respect for him if he had, to be honest. I have many photos, but I've shared the ones that I think you'll enjoy the most. Once back at home, I had it surgically removed, which was nice. Unable to fully forgive the ex, I ended things 2 years later. Nobody should have to put up with that kind of bullshit. Enjoy, and let me know if you need more photos.
No.
Lots of love, Claire. P.S. Running marathons is bullshit. Now, I will describe some photos here. There's one photo with a big toe with plaster around it and a bloody bandage over it as well. And you can see the rest of her toes there. They are some runner's toes because they look pretty skanky. The next photo is a medical glove,
this is the
gloved
worst
hand
one, the worst one.
with like a pair of pliers holding onto that nail. It looks like it's tearing it off from the side. And there's a photo of some nice blue painted nails and just one missing toenail. And then the final one is the toenail hanging off with a load of blood coming out of it.
That's horrific.
I don't think we'll share these because I feel like they're the kind of things that would get us like blocked and reported on most social media sites.
Yeah.
Perhaps private viewings if anyone's interested.
No, that's horrific. Please, no, listen carefully. No one send us any more pictures of toes falling off, toes being surgically removed. No more. That's it. 2025, we're starting afresh. No more.
I disagree.
This ends now. This ends with us. No more toenail pictures. It's the bullshit running is da 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 bum bum. Of course, there's lots of stories coming out from the Montaigne Winter Spine race or races. There's multiple races, isn't there? Is there multiple races? I feel like there is. Maybe there isn't. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, there's lots of stories coming out from that, but the one that caught my attention, of course, is this.
The most important
one was about a runner rescuing a dog en route.
Oh.
So, and after already running well over 100 of the 160 miles, Cleo Bishop Bolt rescued a dog she found shivering alone in the Cheviot. Is that how you say it? Cheviot Hills? In the Cheviot Hills. So Cleo is a member of the Northumberland Mountain Rescue Team, and she leapt into action and fashioned a makeshift lead out of a spare jumper in her kit and escorted her new friend to the race safety team in a remote refuge hut nearby. So they warmed up the dog and piled him up with like snacks and stuff. And it's a happy ending. They found the owner, who was then escorted up on a quad bike to collect the dog, which is lovely. But the crazy thing is, to cap it all off, she went on to finish third in the women's race to claim the final podium place of the week. How crazy is that? What a queen. What a queen. And the picture's great because it's some sort of hound. It's a Pippin dog. I'm like, no one, of course that dog was found lost miles away from anywhere. That would be Pippin. That would be Pippin.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah, some kind of big hound, isn't it?
Yeah, yes. It's probably gone off chasing something. But yeah, I thought that was a very lovely story. The best story about a major race, for sure.
Yeah, I absolutely don't care who won.
No.
I just care that this woman saved a dog.
And then finished third.
Just finished third.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's very sweet.
Well done, Cleo. Thank you. Next story. Very different vibe, but I enjoy it a lot.
I love it.
The headline, Village turns Christmas tree recycling into a race. Christmas tree recycling has been turned into a competitive sport in a Hampshire village where residents race each other to the recycling station. Runners armed with their old Christmas trees ran from St Mary's Church in Ushot to the village hall car park about 500 metres away on Saturday. The idea was born at a party in December 2023 when Nancy Bassant suggested to another villager that she could beat him to the recycling point. Rules for the event include no decorations, no wheels or motorised vehicles, and no use of pets for assistance. The race is mostly downhill, and after the winner is declared, villagers head to the local pub for a round of drinks bought by the loser. This is a good race. It's not going to get on Run Britain. No. I don't think it's going to get officially measured, but I just love I guess, dragging your Christmas tree or like holding it in front of you while like needles just like fly off it all over the place. That is good fun.
I love this. I think it's fun. I just love quirky traditions and races Like, there's absolutely brilliant. And a lot of the races you hear about that have some like weird tradition behind them have been going for like 100 years or 50 years. I think it's great. This just started like a year
this
ago.
does sound like it could have started in 1911 or something like that, and they've done it every year, and no one's really known about it till now.
Yeah.
I hope that carries on.
I think
That's
it's
fun.
absolutely fantastic. Love it. So, Stuart, what have you got coming up next?
I've got a couple of weeks off races. Well, maybe one whole weekend off races before I'm back in again. I'm going to do some actual training. I'm going to do elevation. That's my plan, is just like mostly do elevation and some real training before I do the Barcelona half in a few weeks' time. How about you?
Just start running again. I haven't actually ran properly since the FKT. I haven't done a recovery run. Just been chilling.
No.
I was going to go out this weekend, but the weather was absolutely horrific. So I'm like, you know what?
Yes.
I'll just, I'll wait and start. I'll probably start back tomorrow, to be honest, and just start running again. But yeah, it's kind of nice not having anything to train for. I think I spent sort of 7 months training and like very, very structured and following a very particular plan. And I think it's going to be nice for at least the next few months to just run when I want to run, how far I want to run, and not have to think, oh, I've got this thing to do. I know like goals can motivate people, but there's also that balance as well. When you've been working towards a goal for so long, it's quite nice having the freedom, just doing.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Lanzarote run to me like a year ago.
Yeah.
It was a full year before when you mentioned it.
Yeah.
I know you did bring it on the podcast for a while because you weren't 100% if it was going to happen. But yeah, that's been a long time coming, that one.
Yeah, exactly. So like the planning, like the logistics started a year before, and then the training was 7 months, and I didn't fucking do it. No, I did do it.
And you failed. After all that work, you failed, and now you're just going to give up.
No,
is what we're saying.
I'm quite looking forward to as well. Like just planning some cool trail runs to go on, for the sake of it. Like not even races.
Yes.
Like just looking at places.
Planning and maps.
Yeah, just like
that is the best bit of running.
Yeah, especially as spring gets closer, because I prefer to do those sorts of things in spring.
No, spring will get closer.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly.
That's okay.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be what I'm going to be doing as well. Just planning, looking forward to not having to train. Yeah. If you've enjoyed this bullshit, please visit runningasbs.com to see the show notes and links from this episode and the whole back catalogue, as well as links to our Patreon, merch store, and social medias.
I've still got a load of buffs left. If you want a buff, send us an email.
Yes.
We'll send you a buff. You got to pay for it though. Bye.
Bye. Shit yourself on January 1st. I hope everyone did.